want you to hold up your hand for a second and just pinch your thumb and index finger together.
Just right there in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. Now, pull them apart about 4 centimeters. It's, just a tiny gap, like maybe the size of a golf ball.
Barely anything at all.
Right. Look at that empty space between your fingers. Because today we are doing a deep dive into an object that fits exactly into that tiny physical space.
Which is just wild when you think about it.
It is. It's this 3,000-year-old jade pendant from the Shang dynasty. And somehow within that, 4-centimeter span, an entire ancient civilization basically managed to encode their complete understanding of the cosmos.
Oh, and political authority too. And, well, the fundamental forces of nature. All in that tiny gap.
It really is a masterpiece of compression, if you want to call it that.
It absolutely is. So we're looking at this archaeological analysis of a coiled dragon pendant. What experts call a panlong.
A panlong, got it.
Yeah. And it's carved from this single piece of nephrite jade. It dates to what's known as the Anyang phase of the Shang dynasty. So we're talking roughly between 1250 and 1046 BCE.
Okay, so quite a while ago.
Oh, yeah. This is the final, the most highly centralized, and honestly the most visible period of the Shang. It was centered around the ruins of Yingsu, which was their last capital.
Right, and the thing about Yingsu is that their economy was just, hypersensitive to rainfall.
Oh, incredibly sensitive.
So state power at this time was essentially bottlenecked by weather control. We aren't just talking about a society that preferred good weather so they could, go outside.
No, not at all.
We're talking about a political system where your legitimacy as a ruler rested entirely on securing atmospheric cooperation. If it didn't rain, you were in trouble.
Exactly. And that underlying reality, it really drove their entire ritual apparatus. The vast majority of surviving Shang writing comes from oracle bone inscriptions.
Which they used for royal divination, right?
Yes. And get this, more than 7% of all those surviving inscriptions are dedicated exclusively to meteorological phenomena.
Wait, really? 7%?
7%. Winds, thunderstorms, cloud cover, and of course, most importantly, rain.
7% might sound like a small fraction to some people, but when you consider these are the highly guarded official state records...
this is the top-tier state data.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dedicating that much carved bone just to the weather is massive. It really reveals that the ultimate power in this society belonged to whoever could demonstrate control over those forces.
Which was the king. The political legitimacy of the Shang kings was intimately and permanently tied to celestial conditions.
So if the weather is bad, the king looks bad.
Precisely. The king was the primary intermediary between, the human realm and the divine forces that governed agriculture. So if a ruler failed to guarantee the rain, the entire theological justification for their reign just completely collapsed.
Man, talk about pressure, which I guess brings us directly to the pendant itself.
It does.
So the central figure carved into this stone is a dragon. And I think it's easy for you, the modern listener, to hear the word dragon and immediately picture a fairy tale monster.
Right, like something breathing fire at a night.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Something from a fantasy novel, or maybe just a stylized mascot.
Yeah.
Were the Shang essentially just carving a cool mythological creature that they'd invented?
Oh, far from it. Not even close.
Yeah.
The Shang had a very precise, narrowly defined conceptual category for this entity, which they called long.
Long.
Yeah. And the written graph for long in the oracle bone script, it actually depicts a creature with a massive open mouth, a crested head, and this sinuous coiling body.
Oh, wow.
And that graph is a direct one-to-one visual match with the specific imagery on the jade pendant we're analyzing today.
So the pendant is essentially a three-dimensional rendering of the written character.
Literally, yes.
That's fascinating. So it's a named, recognized entity, not just some generic beast they thought looked intimidating.
Right. It was recognized as a highly volitional, supernatural agent. The Shang didn't view these dragons as just decorative motifs or, abstract folklore.
They took them very seriously.
Very. In the oracle bone inscriptions, we find these extensive records of direct, pragmatic ritual address to dragons.
I think it's easy for us today to view ancient rituals as just metaphor, like poetry, or a way of feeling connected to nature.
Sure, a symbolic gesture.
Right. But you're saying the Shang viewed this as a literal, pragmatic transaction.
Absolutely. They treated it as a diplomatic necessity. They actually offered physical sacrifices to these dragons, placing them within the exact same ritual framework as their royal ancestors and the highest gods in their pantheon.
Wow, so they were top tier.
Exactly. The dragon was an active, conscious agent capable of responding to human ritual action, and its primary domain was water, rain, and river forces.
Okay, so put yourself in the shoes of a Shang artisan. Your task isn't just to carve an animal. Your directive is to somehow capture and contain a volatile, supernatural rain god within a tiny piece of stone.
No pressure, right?
Seriously, how do you even begin to give physical form to something that powerful?
Well, you utilize a specific silhouette known as the pan, or coiled form.
The panlong.
Exactly. The artisan designed the dragon's body to curve back on itself, creating this near-complete circular disc. It's flat and plaque-like, which makes it ideal to be worn against the body as a pendant.
But it's not a perfect circle, is it?
No, and that's the brilliance of the design. It actively resists being a perfect circle.
The analysis highlights this very subtle but deliberate asymmetry in the outline.
Right. The dragon's head actually breaks the upper left boundary of the circular plane, while the tail pushes against the lower left boundary.
So they're offset.
Yes. And by offsetting those points, the artisan disrupts the static nature of a ring. It generates this dynamic, counterclockwise visual tension.
You know, it reminds me of the psychology behind modern corporate logo design.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, when designers create a circular logo, they almost always introduce a tiny, sometimes imperceptible flaw or asymmetry.
Oh, right. Because a mathematically perfect circle feels entirely stagnant to the human eye.
Exactly. Your gaze just slides right off it. But if you offset the weight just a fraction, suddenly the shape possesses this outward, explosive energy. It tricks the brain into feeling like the object is spinning.
That translates perfectly to the panlong. The open jaw of the dragon extending out in profile pushes beyond the contained boundary, giving the entire composition this aggressive, coiled vitality.
It looks ready to strike.
Yeah. And the artisan amplified this tension with specific external features. The outer perimeter of the pendant, for example, isn't a smooth curve. It is interrupted by evenly spaced, rectangular, tooth-like projections.
They look almost like the serrated teeth of a gear.
They do. And archaeologists interpret those as references to the dorsal ridges or spines of the mythological creature, which is a hallmark feature found on elite Shang pendants.
Okay, so we have the shape, the spines. What about the face?
Well, you also have the eye, which is carved in a distinct wedge shape. It has this inner oval pointing aggressively toward the snout, which conveys a hyper-alert, directed intelligence.
You can really feel it looking at you.
And finally, you have the tukang.
The open work voids.
Yes.
Where the artisan literally pierced negative space completely through the body of the pendant.
Exactly. Those voids serve a dual purpose. They reduce the physical and visual weight of the piece, sure, but they also introduce immense compositional complexity.
We really should emphasize the medium here, because if this material is so prone to shattering under pressure, how did they manage to pierce holes through it, let alone carve any surface detail?
It's incredible.
I mean, nephrite jade is fundamentally different from a stone like marble. It has a tightly interlocking crystalline structure. It is incredibly tough, like a 6.5 on the Mohs hardness scale.
Yeah, you cannot simply take a metal knife and whittle nephrite.
Right.
And remember, the Shang didn't possess tools harder than the stone itself, so the entire process relied on abrasion.
So you essentially have to grind it away, molecule by molecule, using friction.
Exactly.
You'd be working with tools made of bamboo or bone, combined with a slurry of water and crushed quartz sand.
The sheer labor required is just staggering. I mean, to pierce a tukang hole straight through a 4-centimeter piece of solid nephrite without the entire piece vibrating and snapping in half.
It's unthinkable.
It requires months of agonizingly slow, perfectly controlled friction. Producing a single pendant of this quality represents a massive expenditure of state resources and specialized labor.
Knowing how brutal the material is, the surface details become almost incomprehensible. Let's look at the microscopic grammar of the lines on the dragon's body.
Oh, this is where it gets really crazy. The surface decoration operates as this highly sophisticated, multi-tiered system. The artisan deployed at least 6 distinct registers of line style.
6 on a 4-centimeter piece.
Yes, the foundation relies on primary boundary lines. These are thick, heavily raised outlines that define the major anatomical zones, like separating the head from the sinuous body.
So those kind of block out the main shapes.
Right, and these boundary lines are 3 to 4 times wider than the internal details. They're slightly rounded, which indicates they were painstakingly ground smooth over countless hours.
So they provide the architectural framing. But the mid-body is where the technique borders on the impossible. The source text discusses a technique called Shwanggukyeon.
Yes, the double-line groove system,
Yeah.
which is diagnostically specific to the Shang period.
How does that work?
Well, to create the visual impression of a single raised line, the artisan did not actually carve the line itself.
Wait, what?
Yeah. Instead, they ground two perfectly parallel microscopic grooves into the stone, maintaining the original uncarved surface of the jade between them as a slightly proud central ridge.
Wait, hold on. Let me make sure I'm visualizing the geometry of this correctly. You have a stone the size of a golf ball. You want a line to appear.
Right.
So you take your bamboo tool and your wet sand, and you grind a tiny trench. Then you move over a millimeter, and you grind a second parallel trench, leaving the tiny wall between them standing.
That is the precise mechanism.
How do you even maintain tool control on a curved, slippery surface? Like, if your hand slips a fraction of a millimeter, you obliterate the central ridge and the piece is ruined.
Which is why the spatial logic required is just extraordinary. The artisan maintained entirely consistent spacing between these two grooves across their entire length, even as the lines changed direction.
Even curving around the three-dimensional volume of the dragon's body.
Exactly. And furthermore, where two of these double-line systems intersected, the artisan pre-calculated the junction so the median ridges connected cleanly without breaking.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that proved the entire intricate layout was mathematically planned in advance, long before the first grain of sand touched the jade.
It's an exercise in supreme cognitive and muscular control. And they aren't just carving straight lines. They are constantly adjusting the angle to create what the text calls volutes and spirals.
The spiral work demands the highest level of mastery. I mean, you are carving a single continuous line that tightens toward a central point, often terminating in a tiny raised circular boss.
It makes my hands cramp just thinking about it.
Right. The artisan had to maintain consistent line width and depth through a full 360-degree rotation. Then, when transitioning to the head and crest zone, the visual vocabulary shifts completely.
How so?
Well, rather than flowing curves, the head is filled with angular geometric shapes, sharp T patterns, L shapes, and step patterns.
Ah, okay. So the body is fluid, sinuous, and yielding, while the head, which is the seat of the controlling intelligence, is rigid, geometric, and assertive.
Exactly.
That contrast feels entirely deliberate. And nestled right at the junction, just beneath the jaw, there are three simple parallel lines.
Oh, yes. In late Shang iconography, those three lines are conventionally interpreted as gills.
Gills!
Yeah, this anatomical marker permanently anchors the creature to the aquatic realm. It serves as a constant visual reminder of its connection to rainfall and river systems.
Think about the multi-scalar experience of viewing this object. Like, from across the room, if an elite is wearing this against their chest, you register the bold, dynamic silhouette of a coiled predator.
A powerful statement.
Very. Stepping closer, you perceive the volume of the body articulated by those thick boundary lines. And if you are permitted to stand mere inches away, you suddenly see the hair-thin accent lines around the eye and the impossibly tight spirals covering the body.
Right.
The visual grammar unfolds depending on your physical proximity to power.
And the depth of that grammar leads to the most profound argument in the analysis. Because those lines, the intricate spirals and the sharp angles, they're not merely textural.
Right. The source material is absolutely adamant about this point. In Shang artistic tradition, there is no such thing as a purely decorative line.
None. The modern concept of applying a pattern simply to fill empty space or make something look attractive, it simply did not exist in their conceptual framework.
Every line has a job.
Every single line etched into this pendant participates in a unified cosmological statement. The scroll elements we see fall into two primary categories.
Okay, what are they?
Well, first you have Yunwen, which are the curvilinear cloud patterns covering the body. And then you have Leiwen, which are the angular thunder patterns adorning the head.
So the dragon isn't just associated with weather, its physical form is literally constructed out of clouds and thunder.
Yes, it operates on multiple, overlapping layers of meaning. On the atmospheric layer, the Shang understood clouds as the visible, physical body of atmospheric power.
Wow.
Clouds were the medium through which the celestial realm interfaced with the human realm. Therefore, the dragon isn't merely flying through a cloudy sky, it is constituted by the storm itself. It is the animating intelligence organizing the weather.
And the analysis pushes the meaning even deeper, moving beyond just weather to something it refers to as protoki.
Right, Kodoki. This is the vital breath, the foundational life force of the universe. The formal visual property of the scroll pattern is continuous movement without termination.
It coils inward and it releases outward.
Exactly. The tightly wound spiral represents energy concentrated, compressed, and stored. The unwinding arm of the spiral is that exact same energy releasing into the world.
Like a spring.
Yes, it is a visual manifesto of dynamic cosmic balance. Really, it's the conceptual predecessor to what later Chinese philosophy would formalize as yin and yang.
That's incredible, and the geometry also tackles the sensory experience of a storm, specifically sound, right? Because the text argues that the sharp, angular thunder patterns, the lei wen on the head, represent the acoustic rebound of a thunderclap.
Yes, the acoustic rebound.
Now, hold on, I have to push back on this a bit. How can archaeologists possibly know that a geometric angle was specifically meant to represent a sound echoing? Couldn't a sharp angle just be like a stylized, easy-to-carve drawing of a lightning bolt?
That's a really critical question to ask when dealing with ancient, non-linguistic symbols. We aren't just guessing based on what it looks like to a modern eye. Archaeologists actually cross-reference these patterns with contemporary bronze vessel inscriptions and later Zhou dynasty texts that explicitly link these specific angular motifs to the reverberation of thunder.
Oh, so there is text to back it up.
Absolutely. In the structural grammar of Shang art, sudden, sharp directional changes in a line are frequently used to translate the concept of an acoustic echo, a sound hitting a barrier and bouncing back into a visible geometric format.
So they are effectively drawing the invisible physics of sound.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That completely changes how you look at the object. And all of this dynamic energy, the coiling and uncoiling, it ties directly into their conception of time. Because the Shang did not view time as a linear progression from point A to point B.
No, they operated on a cyclically recursive calendar. Time was a process of continuous return.
If time isn't a straight line, the natural assumption is that it's a circle. But a circle is trapped. It just loops back over the exact same path, like Groundhog Day.
Right, exactly.
A spiral, however, comes back around to a similar coordinate, but shifted outward. Transformed. It seems like the perfect visual metaphor for the seasons. Like, winter always returns, but it's a new winter. You plant new crops.
The geometry of transformed return, it's beautiful. And this spiral logic connects to a broader visual grammar in Shang cosmology, most notably the toady motif.
Oh, right. For those who might not be familiar with Shang bronzes, a toady is essentially this gluttonous, often jawless monster mask that appears on their ritual vessels.
It's very striking.
It is. It looks like a terrifying face staring straight at you, but it's usually composed of two separate animal profiles meeting in the middle.
That mask is ubiquitous in Shang elite culture. And scholars argue that the intricate scrollwork surrounding the toady and the scrollwork making up the body of our jade panlong isn't just background filler.
Because there's no purely decorative lines.
Right. It represents the primordial, undifferentiated cosmic substance, the raw material of the universe before it takes physical shape.
A kind of vibrating cosmic soup.
Precisely. The dragon on this pendant is caught in the act of crystallizing out of that cosmic soup. The scroll represents Hua, the concept of fundamental transformation.
Wow.
The dragon is a supernatural being whose very nature is to transform, to bring the rain that transforms the seeds into crops. And the lines carved onto its body are the literal geometry of that ongoing cosmic process.
So if we accept that this 4-centimeter piece of jade contains the blueprint of cosmic transformation, weather control, and acoustic energy, the obvious question becomes, who actually gets to keep an object this powerful in their pocket?
Well, access was restricted to the absolute highest echelons of Shang society. Pendants of this caliber are found almost exclusively in elite burials at Yangtze.
Only the top of the top.
To understand the level of exclusivity, we can look at discoveries like Tomb M5, the intact burial site of Fu Hao.
Ah, Fu Hao. She was a royal consort, a military general, and a high priestess. A huge deal.
Massive. Her tomb is the richest Shang burial ever excavated. Alongside massive bronze vessels and, unfortunately, human sacrifices, archaeologists recovered over 750 individual jade objects.
750?
Yeah. The sheer accumulation of wealth required to commission and own an object like the panlong was an expression of extreme, untouchable social hierarchy.
So the pendant functions simultaneously across 3 distinct registers of Shang life.
Yes.
Yeah.
First, the ritual register. Jade itself, known as ling, was considered inherently numinous. It was believed to possess life-giving properties, preserving the physical body and facilitating direct communication with the spirit realm.
Okay, that's one.
Second, the political register. Wearing the ultimate controller of rain was a tangible claim to cosmic authority. It proved to the populace that you possessed the divine right to rule an agricultural society.
And third, the personal register. It is an aesthetic masterpiece driven by horror vacui, the profound fear of empty space. Every single millimeter of the stone is carved, layered, and buzzing with kinetic energy.
And that density of carving constantly performs the wearer's elevated status. I mean, every time the wearer moved, the light would catch those microscopic grooves, visually broadcasting their power.
The biggest takeaway for me looking across all these sources is that the immense technical difficulty of carving this jade wasn't just the Shang elite showing off their wealth.
No, it was much deeper than that.
Right. The concentrated, grueling, purposeful energy required to grind those double-line grooves into hard nephrite with sand and bamboo. That physical effort directly mirrored the concentrated cosmic power the object was meant to hold. The medium is the message.
It absolutely is.
They were taking the invisible, massive processes of the universe and making them visible and permanent in stone.
The correspondence between the agonizing process of creation and the profound cosmological meaning it carries. That is what elevates it from a mere piece of jewelry to a masterpiece of human ingenuity.
We are looking at a 4-centimeter piece of jade, carved 3,000 years ago, that manages to operate as a weather-controlled device, a billboard for political legitimacy, and a microscopic map of cyclical time, acoustic energy, and protokey.
It's a lot for one little stone.
All happening simultaneously in the palm of a hand.
It really forces us to put our modern relationship with objects into perspective. I mean, today, billions of us walk around carrying tiny, flat rectangles made of glass, silicon, and rare earth metals.
Our smartphones, they are practically glued to our hands.
And those tiny glass rectangles connect us to an invisible, omnipresent web of human knowledge, global economics, and, well, unprecedented computational power. They are, in many ways, the modern era's version of a numinous object.
That is a really interesting way to look at it.
It raises a fascinating question about the legacy of material culture. Think about it. If an archaeologist 3,000 years from now excavates one of our smartphones from the ruins of a modern city, will they possess the context to understand the invisible forces it connected us to?
Will they be able to decode the digital scroll work of our era?
Exactly.
Or will they just brush the dirt off a cracked piece of glass and conclude that 21st century humans really enjoyed staring at decorative glowing squares? It's something for you to chew on the next time you hold your phone. Or the next time you hold your fingers 4 centimeters apart and realize just how much universe can fit in a tiny, seemingly empty space.